Have you ever heard of a town where wild donkeys roam freely down Main Street? Or a place that proudly goes by a name that literally means nothing? How about a town that got its name from a poker game? Welcome to Arizona, the iconic southwestern state known for its breathtaking landscapes and, of course, the world-famous natural wonder, the Grand Canyon. But behind that postcard-perfect image lies another side of the Grand Canyon state. A side that's a bit stranger, quirkier, and definitely more eccentric. On this journey, we're diving into some of the most unusual and offbeat towns in all of Arizona. So get ready to veer off the main highway and discover the colorful soul of Arizona. One filled with ghost stories, bold personalities, and unforgettable charm. We'll kick things off in the southern part of the state, in a former mining town that has been reborn as a vibrant hub of creativity and eccentric living. The town of Bisbee has earned a reputation as Arizona's quirkiest destination, and honestly, it lives up to the title. Nestled in the Mule Mountains not far from the Mexican border, Bisbee was once the largest copper mining town in the American Southwest. When the mining industry collapsed, the town nearly became a ghost town. But then, something unexpected happened. Artists, free spirits, and those in search of an alternative lifestyle began to move in. Today, Bisbee is a maze of steep streets, historic staircases carved into the hillsides, and colorful Victorian buildings. These once abandoned structures have been transformed into eclectic art galleries, vintage shops, and quirky cafes. One of the main attractions here is the Copper Queen Mine Tour, where you can gear up like an old-school miner and journey deep into the mountain's dark tunnels. But the real magic of Bisbee lies in its atmosphere, a tight-knit community that proudly celebrates its weirdness. They even host an annual festival to welcome back the turkey vultures that return each year, turning the unusual into something truly joyful. Heading north into the Verde Valley, we come to Jerome, once nicknamed the Wickedest Town in the West. Like Bisbee, Jerome's story is rooted in copper, but it's the way this town clings dramatically to the side of Mingus Mountain that really makes it stand out. In its heyday, Jerome was a wild boom town, packed with saloons, brothels, and more than its fair share of violence and vice. When the mining dried up, the population plummeted to just a few dozen. But once again, artists and creatives saw potential in the crumbling ruins, turning old miners' shacks into studios and galleries. It's proof that in the hands of artists, anything can be reimagined. Today, Jerome is what you'd call a living ghost town, a place where history breathes alongside modern life. You can visit the Jerome State Historic Park to explore the town's rough-and-tumble past, or seek out the infamous sliding jail, which actually shifted over 225 feet downhill due to unstable ground. By day, Jerome offers sweeping views and old-time charm, but by night, it's known for chilling ghost stories and eerie legends that give the town its haunting allure. Now we leave the mountains behind and make our way to Arizona's stretch of the legendary Route 66, where things take an even more surreal turn. Welcome to Oatman, a town that feels like a time capsule from the Wild West. Once a booming gold rush town, Oatman today draws visitors not for its history of gold, but for its most unexpected residents. The donkeys. Dozens of wild burros, descended from the pack animals abandoned by long-gone miners, now wander the dusty streets like they own the place. These burros are surprisingly friendly, often approaching tourists in search of treats, and they've become the heart and soul of the town's appeal. Oatman fully leans into its Old West persona, with wooden boardwalks, kitschy souvenir shops, and daily staged gunfights that delight visitors. It's fair to say that visiting Oatman is a classic Route 66 experience. Fun, unforgettable, and delightfully strange. Not to be outdone in oddness by Oatman, somewhere along US Route 93 between the towns of Wickenburg and Kingman lies a place called Nothing. And yes, the name says it all. There's quite literally nothing there. This ghost town became famous purely because of its hilariously ironic name. At one point, there was even an iconic roadside sign that greeted travelers with a tongue-in-cheek message. The steadfast citizens of Nothing are full of hope, faith, and belief in hard work. Through the years, these dedicated people have had faith in nothing, hoped for nothing, worked at nothing, and for nothing. At its peak, the population was only 4 people. Now it's dropped to 0. All that remains are a few crumbling structures, sun-beaten and empty. Whether you call it a quirky pit stop or a visual punchline in the middle of Arizona's endless desert, Nothing is the kind of place that makes you smile, scratch your head, and maybe snap a photo just to prove you found it. Strange and oddly charming all at once. Now this next town is unusual in an entirely different way. Sedona is world-renowned not just for its stunning red rock formations, but for what many believe is a deep, spiritual energy that flows through the area. According to New Age communities and spiritual seekers, Sedona is home to what are known as vortexes, concentrated spots of Earth's electromagnetic energy believed to have healing, inspiring, and transformative powers. It's no surprise, then, that Sedona is filled with crystal shops, guided meditation centers, psychic readings, spiritual retreats, and holistic spas. But even if you're a skeptic, Sedona still has something to offer. It's a paradise for hikers and nature lovers, with incredible trails that cut through some of the most beautiful terrain in the American Southwest. Whether you're in it for the metaphysical energy or just the jaw-dropping scenery, Sedona has an atmosphere that feels undeniably different. Maybe it's the vortexes, or maybe it's just nature at its finest. Then there's one more town that stands out, not just for being strange, but for being legendary. Known as the town too tough to die, Tombstone is Arizona's most famous silver mining town, made immortal by the infamous gunfight at the OK Corral. This is where history and myth collide in the story of Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and the Clanton-McClory gang, whose deadly showdown defined the Wild West. Tombstone doesn't just remember its past, it lives it. Every day, you'll find costumed actors reenacting that iconic shootout for fascinated crowds. You can have a drink at the historic Big Nose Kate's Saloon, named after Doc Holliday's girlfriend, or explore the eerie Boot Hill Graveyard, where many outlaws met their final resting place. The whole town is like stepping into a Western movie set, gritty, theatrical, and full of old-time charm. It's part history, part spectacle, and all-out entertainment. Next up is a place that truly breaks the mold. Arco, often described as a real-life anomaly rising out of the Arizona desert. Unlike the historic mining towns we've explored so far, Arcos isn't old at all. Instead, it's an experimental urban laboratory founded in the 1970s by visionary Italian architect Paolo Soleri. What makes Arcosanti truly fascinating is that it's a living experiment in arcology, a concept that blends architecture with ecology to create compact, energy-efficient, and sustainable urban environments. A small, dedicated community of artists, students, and environmental thinkers still live and work here today, constructing futuristic structures and crafting bronze wind bells by hand. These bells are sold worldwide and help fund the continuation of the project. For some, Arcosanti represents a bold utopian dream, a futuristic settlement built in the middle of nowhere, offering a completely different way of thinking about how we live. Whether you see it as an architectural marvel or a philosophical experiment, there's no doubt it's one of the most intriguing places in Arizona. If Arcosanti represents a utopian vision of the future, Chloride stands as a relic of the past, but one with a wild, artistic twist. Proudly calling itself the oldest continuously inhabited mining town in Arizona, Chloride has a long and colorful history. But its real quirk lies in the explosion of modern art that decorates its surrounding hills. Just outside the town, in the rugged desert landscape, a local artist named Roy Purcell spent the 1960s creating massive, psychedelic murals on giant boulders. These striking artworks, known as the Owlhead murals, feel like an unexpected outdoor gallery in the middle of nowhere. As you explore Chloride further, you'll notice that the town itself is a blend of preserved historic buildings and strange roadside art installations, including collections of scrap metal, old cars, and offbeat sculptures. It's a place that proves even the sleepiest old mining towns can still surprise you with bold creativity and a little eccentric flair. On the other end of the spectrum, some Arizona towns are famous not for what they have, but for what they're called. In the remote desert crossroads of state routes 85 and 86, you'll find a tiny town with one of the most unusual names in the entire country. Y. Yes, the town is literally called Y. The name comes from the shape of the intersection where the two highways meet. They form a distinct Y. But here's the twist. State law at the time required town names to have at least 3 letters. So the residents got creative and officially named their community Y instead of just Y. It's a small town without much in the way of attractions, but the quirky name has turned it into a popular photo op for road trippers and curious travelers. It's the kind of place that makes you smile, shake your head, and say, "Only in Arizona." If the town of Y is a perfect example of how bureaucracy mixed with a little local humor can produce something truly unique, then this next town takes it to an entirely new level of absurdity. Believe it or not, the town of Show Low got its name from a legendary all-night poker game between 2 settlers, Corydon Clark and Marion Clark. Despite sharing the same last name, they weren't related by blood. the two couldn't agree on who should keep a sprawling 10,000-acre ranch, so instead of fighting over it, they decided to settle the matter with a high-stakes poker game. After hours of playing, Corydon finally said, "If you can show low, you win." Marion revealed the two of clubs, the lowest possible card, and with that, he won the land. That phrase, "show low," stuck and eventually became the official name of the town. And to this day, the two clubs are proudly displayed on the town's official seal, a quirky tribute to its unusual origin story. Located in Navajo County, Show Low is now well known for its natural beauty and outdoor recreation, thanks to its location in the scenic White Mountains. The town attracts nature lovers and adventure seekers alike, offering attractions like Fool Hollow Lake and a charming downtown filled with local shops and restaurants. It's a place where folklore, history, and modern tourism come together in the most unexpected way. This next town might immediately remind you of the beloved yellow Autobot from the Transformers movies. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong to make the connection. Bumble Bee is a real place, and although it has no relation to the robot, its backstory is just as colorful. Originally founded in 1864 as a small mining settlement, the town got its unusual name from a very painful encounter involving, you guessed it, bees. One story goes that early miners, while out searching for water and honey along a nearby creek, accidentally disturbed a massive beehive and were aggressively stung. Another, less flattering version of the story tells of soldiers referring to the local Native Americans as foolish as bees in a hive. Either way, the name Bumblebee stuck. Today, the town is nearly abandoned, with just a few remnants of its past remaining. But its quirky name keeps it alive in Arizona folklore. The area around Bumblebee has become popular for RV camping and outdoor getaways. There's even a guest ranch and a handful of small businesses catering to travelers who want to experience a piece of the Old West. And maybe take a selfie with a road sign that proves, yes, Bumblebee is real. From towns with funny names, we now head into territory where things get a little darker. Places with eerie histories, ties to pop culture, and some of the most remote locations in Arizona. First up, Skull Valley. Located about 27 kilometers west of Prescott, this rural community carries a name that sounds ominous. And for good reason. Back in the 1860s, this area was the site of violent conflicts between early settlers, explorers, and Native American tribes like the Apache and the Maricopa. After one of the bloodiest battles, a large number of human skulls and bones were discovered scattered across the valley floor, a grim discovery that led to the name Skull Valley. But don't let the name fool you. Today, Skull Valley is a peaceful ranching community, home to a small population and simple rural life. It has its own post office, a school, a general store, and a local historical society dedicated to preserving the area's rugged past. The name now serves as a powerful reminder of Arizona's wild frontier days, a history filled with hardship, survival, and the clash of cultures that helped shape the American West. Back in Navajo County, there's another town that stands out for more than just its place on the map: Winslow. Historically, this small town played a key role as a stop on the Santa Fe Railway and gained even more significance thanks to its location along the iconic Route 66. For most people speeding down Interstate 40, Winslow might seem like just another dot on the road. But that all changed in 1972 when the Eagles released their classic hit, Take It Easy. One line in particular, well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, immortalized the town in pop culture forever. Winslow fully embraced this unexpected fame by creating Standin' on the Corner Park, a must-see roadside attraction. It features a massive wall mural, a bronze statue of a man with a guitar, and even a vintage red Ford pickup truck parked nearby, all in tribute to that unforgettable lyric. Meanwhile, another Arizona town found fame in a much more festive way. Welcome to Christmas, a now abandoned mining town with a name as charming as its backstory. The town got its unusual name in 1902 when a local prospector staked a mining claim on none other than Christmas Day. That moment sealed the town's identity forever. For years, the town's small post office became something of a holiday legend. People from all across the country would send their Christmas cards there just to get them stamped with the one-of-a-kind postmark, Christmas, Arizona. Although the town itself has long since faded into history, the area lives on under the care of the Bureau of Land Management. Located along the Gila River, it now offers picnic areas, campgrounds, and fishing spots. Proof that even ghost towns can leave behind a legacy of joy. And finally, we wrap up this journey with perhaps the most remote and extraordinary town in all of Arizona, Supai. Hidden at the very bottom of the Grand Canyon, Supai is the capital of the Havasupai Indian Reservation and home to the Havasupai people who have lived in this isolated canyon for centuries. There are no roads that lead to Supai. The only way to get there is by hiking 8 miles through the canyon, riding on horseback or mule, or flying in by helicopter. It is the only place in the United States where mail is still delivered by mule train. The nearby Havasu Falls, with its crystal clear turquoise waters cascading through the red rock, attracts adventurers and nature lovers from all over the world. But make no mistake, Supai's extreme isolation makes it one of the most unique and logistically challenging places to visit in the entire country. From haunted ghost towns to futuristic desert experiments, from spiritual communities built on red rock to places named Nothing, Arizona proves itself to be a state bursting with strange, beautiful, and unforgettable contrasts. In the end, these 15 towns are so much more than just dots on a map. They're living time capsules of American history, creative canvases for wild artistic visions, and bold examples of the resilience of people who've chosen to live life their own way, out in the desert. Each place has its own story, its own characters, and just enough weirdness to make it truly unforgettable. So next time you find yourself traveling across Arizona, don't rush straight to the big name attractions. Take a detour, explore the weird, and discover the real spirit of the Wild West, one strange little town at a time.